#SFM Talking Point.
So we're going to get into our talk on SMEs, and today on our feature we zoom into a business that operates in the street known as Estratweni Mobile Foods. It's the story of Thando Mavumengwana and Siphumeze Blax Ramncwana, who borrowed 200 rand from the other sister to buy ingredients for the muffins which they sold. Then came the COVID-19 setback, but however, they've managed to overcome that today. Thando joins us on the line. Thando, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
It's a pleasure to have you on, Thando. Maybe just a little bit about your story and who you guys are.
Thank you so much, guys, for the opportunity. So this is Thando speaking, the co-founder of Estratweni Mobile Foods. It's Ramncwana. So back in 2016, we started our business, Estratweni Mobile Foods, of which it was never planned. It was a coincidence because we just resigned from our jobs because we were working in a community development, and we thought we were going to start our own organization, but seeing that it's hard getting the funds and with some internal issues that we had in that organization, so we decided that we want to start our own organization. So we just resigned and we went out there, and just 2 weeks later, we realized that we were unemployed. So we're like, what do we do, man? Because Blax is married, he's having kids, and I'm taking care of my mom. So we need to have money. We need to have something on the table. So that's when we started Estratweni, instead of selling muffins, because I've seen how muffins are so easy to make. And again, you can get a good revenue out of them. So we started selling muffins on the street. So we borrowed 200 rand from my sister, and we went and baked muffins, and we sold muffins on the street. So we would be the guys shouting at the taxi rank in the morning, at the bus stations, at the train station, shouting, "Hey, muffins, muffins!" And wow, that it was not so easy. I think emotionally it was, and mentally it was one of the stages that were like, it was something embarrassing because this was our downfall for us. Because we were working for this international organization where they're like the youth coordinators and stuff, but now there are moments you see these guys selling muffins on the street. So that was the most toughest thing to do, because starting a business in the location, in the township where we're coming from, is not so easy. And again,
and tell me, which township do you come from?
So we're coming from the township of Philippi in Cape Town.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not so easy to start a business, and again, this kind of business that you're doing. So if you find anybody just selling in the street, you could tell that person is futureless. There's no future in them. So, but by the grace of God, and we knew as we time that was going that what we wanted to do, because we could find that no, there's money in what we're doing, and we started to have a greater vision for it. So we went and borrowed chef jackets from the guys that were dropped out in the college. So we borrowed their chef jackets, and we're now the coolest guys that are selling muffins on the street, because everyone is like, hey, the chefs are selling on the street. So we started to be the guys that are trending. Everyone was buying our muffins. We opened ourselves. We opened the Facebook page, and that's when everything started. So
sure, and Thando, before you go on with the story, right? I'm interested in this 200 rand story, because you were given 200 rand. Did any of you know how to bake? The recipes? Did you just go online and search for recipes? Tell me a little bit about that, because you can't just make perfect muffins that people want to buy at your first try. And I'm just thinking, you used 200 rand, so the flour, that means that if you didn't get the batches right, then you would have lost out on the capital there.
Yes. So the nicest thing about that is that I'm coming from a family that is it's only like females around it. So I've learned how to cook. I've learned how to bake from my sisters at home. And again, we've got the ready mixed muffins.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the easiest way to get it.
So you took the shortcut.
Yeah, we took the shortcut. We took the shortcut. But one of the things that we've seen, it's how we presented ourselves in those uniforms and the energy that we had, and again, mostly like opening up the Facebook page, because everyone that was buying our muffins, they would take pictures and posting on Facebook. Hey, there's these cool guys that are selling muffins, and that's how we started to trend. And now we saw one guy that was selling his food trailer, and the beautiful thing about that is one of the guys that he knew us because we were walking on the street, selling on the street. So we used to sell muffins to him, and he said, guys, I'm selling this for trailer. And that's when now we started doing the beef burgers. So we started selling the beef burgers and on that trailer, and we started to go to events around selling, and that's how we started growing, and we've been growing. Now we've got about 4 food trailers, and we've got a restaurant on a shipping container in Philippi. We had prior to the lockdown, we had 15 guys that are working with us, guys that will never get a job opportunity because they're not educated. Some of them, they've got criminal records. So these are the guys that we have in our team that are working for us, and we've been so much effective on our community, because I think on the first days of the lockdown, when it said it's going to last for 21 days, we did some grocery hampers for about 100 homes, and partnering with Nespas Labs, and so this is pretty much of our story.
Thando, it is such a fantastic story. And I'm looking at the pictures that you guys have in your uniform with your beef burgers. I mean, I would want to buy from you too, because you look like professionals. You know, you've got that down. You're wearing your aprons too. So it looks very legit, you know. I would definitely stop and get my hands on one of your burgers. Now, starting off as a small business, let's talk realistically about how long it took you to take this 200 Rand and grow it into what it is today.
I won't lie to you. I won't lie to you. It has never been easy. It has never been easy. I think for us, one thing that has helped us is it's the anger that we had when we wanted to start our own organization. So we were so much angry at that, because we felt like the organization that we're working for, it was not telling. We never got a chance of telling our own stories, but we would find people coming and taking our stories and wanting to narrate our own stories. So now we're so angry that we want to be the first guys that are telling our stories, but successful stories. So we told ourselves that we're not gonna give up. We'll make this thing work. It has to work. And by the way, we don't have any options, because I'm not educated. I didn't even finish my grade 12. Blax didn't even finish his grade 12. So we knew that it's hard getting jobs in South Africa, as much as I think about 57% of the youth is unemployed, and about 30% of that is graduated people that went to school, but they still can't get jobs. So for a guy like me that has never even had much, there's no diplomas, didn't even finish school, so we knew that I'm not going to get a job. So we have no second option. So we have to make this thing, to make it work. We find ways on making it work, but it was never easy. But I think for us, from our previous jobs, knowing how to work with people, and because our business is much customer-centric, and everything is all about our customer. So that's what has helped us most of the time, because our customers have been the ones that are advertising for us. When they've got our taste and they've got the food, and mostly the good service, they've been sharing on Facebook. The word of mouth has been super well for us.
And what would you say some of your toughest challenges were?
I think the toughest challenges was having money. We just want to sell, and we have money. Blax is a responsible man he has to feed his family, but he can't take the money and buy the needs of the family, because we need to take the money and revert and put it back into business. So there was a time that we were selling. We had money that we've made, but I couldn't buy shoes, because my shoes, I remember I was wearing like a white shoe, Air Force shoe, but there was a hole underneath it, and I used to sell without shoes. I would go for days without roll on. I used to go days without roll on, because we had to be financially disciplined, because there was no funding that we would get. We tried other places for funding, but would never get. And the most painful thing was having this vision. We see this thing, it can work, but in terms of the finances, we've got no way to make it happen. So it was the most hard time that I know this business can work, but I just don't have the funding for it. So that was the most painful time for us. And again, just selling on the street is never easy, because you see people that you went to school with, and they're driving cars, their life is moving, and you're like yourself, I'm just there. I'm selling muffins on the street. I never planned it for my future. I never thought my future would go this way. So emotionally and mentally, it was the most. But on our customers, would keep a smile on them. But when you go back home and you were like, man, what am I doing? Why did I even resign?
So you almost had to get over yourself in order to do this work and be successful at it, because so many young people today don't see themselves in the position of doing perhaps what some of our mothers do, which is go onto the street and becoming hawkers and selling, because they think it's just too embarrassing, precisely for some of the reasons that you are raising here, that your classmates are there, some of them are progressing, they're getting ahead, and you're thinking this is such a lowly thing for me to do, and yet there are generations of children that have been put through school, through money from those sales. These women are entrepreneurs,
Come on. I'm sorry. I feel you.
Thando is like going to church. He's like, amen, my sister, amen. And it's such an incredible journey. It's such an incredible story. And I think you guys have done really, really well. Speak to me a little bit more about the impact that COVID-19 has had on you. How are you as a business having to evolve to ensure that you're still current and that you're not completely affected in terms of the services that you're providing?
Your COVID-19 has been a toughest time for us in business because we had contracts. We had contracts that would serve about 200 meals to some organizations. So every day they would take 200 meals because they had 200 kids on their classes and stuff. And when COVID-19 came and those classes, that business, like that P2P business, was like closed down for us, and that's what has been bringing much revenue for us as Estratweni. So when that came, we were so stressing. And now with the restrictions and everything, but at least came the time that we were allowed to do we are allowed to do deliveries, and for us we didn't have any motorbikes or anything. So, but we were like, what do we do, man? What do we do? And they're like, no, our business started on the street, so we have to go back in the street. And we used to go to customers. We didn't have a shop, so we didn't have any shop. So we used to go to customers. So it was like, no, this is what is in our DNA of our business, being on the street. So I was like, what are we gonna do on the COVID-19? So we just posted on Facebook that we're gonna start doing deliveries. And for any guys out there that wants to join us in doing deliveries, so for us, they can come. If you're owning a motorbike, come make extra cash with us. Wow, that turned out good, and we got a couple of guys, about 6 guys that were owning their motorbikes, and they joined our team. So we started doing deliveries with WhatsApp. So you could just order your burger or sausage roll via WhatsApp, and you can just send us your location through WhatsApp, because we don't have any money for any budget for the app or something. So we had to use what we had, so we can achieve what we don't have. So that's what we did. So you could just send us, you at home, just send us your location, and then just send us your order. You can pay via Capitec or something. Then that's how we've been doing with the COVID-19. And but it has been a tough journey, because still now we can't even let all our 15 guys come at work. So they need to do rotations that will sustain them. And again, the business, because our business, our model is in high volumes, because our prices are too low. So we do business in high volumes, but now if we no longer can't do high volumes, it becomes a very, very challenging, because our prices are so low. So it becomes a challenge when you can't do high volumes. But with the deliveries, that has been good for us. That has been sustaining us, and just keeping that relationship with our customers and keeping our customers and just making those few extra rands. Yeah.
Oh, Thando, your story makes me so happy. You really get me so excited. It's a pity I won't be in Cape Town anytime soon. Otherwise, I too would want to come and taste some of the food that you're dishing out there at Estratweni Mobile Foods. An incredible example of what happens in this country, the innovation. And, people always think you need so much. You need so much to get started. And Thando says they started with 200 Rand in their pocket. And do not underestimate the amount of hard work it takes to grow 200 Rand into the kind of business that they have today. Definitely requires a lot of dedication and commitment. Thando, thank you for your time on the Talking Point today. We wish you and your business partner Blax all of the best in your endeavors, and the rest of the staff at Estratweni Mobile Foods.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. And for anyone who would like to follow us or follow our story, please check us out on Facebook, Estratweni Mobile Foods, as well on Instagram, Estratweni Mobile Foods, and on Twitter, Estratweni Mobile Foods. And thank you so much to Capital for the opportunity that they've given us to win the competition. And thank you so much, even for the interview. We really, really appreciate it, just giving a chance of sharing our story and telling our story. Thank you so much, guys.
The pleasure has really been ours, and I would really encourage you to go and take a look at some of their Facebook platforms. You'll see these guys are not playing around. They are the real deal. All right, it's just after 10:30. Utsile Sako has your latest headlines.